So what's the first thing you do when your kid is sick?
Just pray it doesn't get to me.
Welcome to the Strong Like a Mother podcast with Cherie
and Jada. We're doing your best. Doesn't mean you have to be perfect. That is literally the first thing I think about is I don't want it.
Yeah. Let me stock up on the vitamins.
All the things. I need the orange juice. I need the vitamin C packs.
Yeah.
Everything. Please just don't get me. I'll take care of you.
Yeah.
Gloves. I'm going to wash my hands until my skin starts peeling. But just, I don't want it. I don't want it. No, thank you.
Yeah. It's, especially if it's something bad, like the stomach bug or the flu, something that really is going to just take you out. Oh man. Give me the Lysol, the Germ-X. I agree. I already wash my hands a lot. My hands just take a beating. I don't know. I don't know if it's a little bit of OCD or what, but, and especially since COVID, I'm all about, give me some hand sanitizer. Let me wash my hands. I will not touch food. I will not, I need something, something to sanitize. And COVID, I think, created some good habits, hopefully, and more than just me and you. I know we're kind of germaphobes.
I am to the extreme, and I don't want to say extreme. I'm sure there are people a lot more, but when my kids get sick, even if Jared gets sick, we're isolating. Hey,
yeah.
I need you to stay in this space, and this is the only space you can contaminate.
Yep.
Please don't progress it across the house.
Yeah.
And the scariest thing is here, because a lot of people suffer from seasonal allergies really bad.
Mm-hmm.
And the school calls you and they're like, hey, Dylan has a fever. And you're just I know it's allergies. I know it's a sinus. And then they're out for 24 hours. And I'm like, okay, I'm glad it's nothing. But kind of like you said, now you say she threw up.
Oh, yeah.
I am scared.
Yeah.
How fast is coming to get the rest of us?
Yeah. The mask is coming back out if there's a stomach virus in our house.
But you're just this is when the symptoms have hit.
Yeah.
How long was it there this morning?
Yeah.
Was there another kid in the class?
Yeah, you've got to you start drilling down and you're well, do they sit by you?
Did y'all play together?
Right? There's a lot that, stomach bug is my God, that's the plague. For me.
It is. It has hit our house probably at some of the worst, most inconvenient times.
Yeah.
Thank you. My kids do not watch or listen to this podcast, but Peyton a couple times in the car.
Ugh.
And I'm can you not ask for a bag or anything? Just in the car and you're driving.
Yep.
And you're this is going to be a nightmare to clean up.
Yeah.
And we had the plague hit the house when we were selling our last house.
Oh, God.
While we were out, the new buyers were touring the house, making their final decision, getting approval from their family. And we were out in a car and Riley's just hey, I don't feel good. And we're okay, this shouldn't take long. It'll be okay. And it wasn't. And one by one, I am trying to wrap up our contract. It's each person in our house goes down for the count. And it hit me last, but who takes care of Nurse Mommy is Nurse Mommy. Everybody just kind of let me be. I'll take care of myself, just.
Yeah.
Ugh.
That is the worst. And when it happens in the car, that happened to us recently. And Levi gets kind of car sick if we've been in the car long enough. And I don't know this was a couple of months ago. He wanted to go get pizza. It's just a regular night. We go to the pizza place, we get pizza, and he's there. And you see when it hits them, their whole demeanor just changes.
just pale.
And I'm like, "Are you feeling okay?" And he's like, "I don't really feel that good, Mom. I don't want to eat any." And I'm like, "Oh God." And so I'm like, maybe he's just, I don't know. You never know. Like I try to assume that it's not going to be a stomach virus.
I wanted anything but
that. And so he's like laying down in the booth. He's got his head like on my leg. And so we pack up, I'm like, let's just go. We'll finish our pizza at home. And I think he had eaten like a few bites. He had to have eaten a few bites. But we get halfway home and we weren't even far. And he's like, I think I'm going to throw up. And, it's not like you can just, like swing over, just anywhere. It's dark. And so Dustin's like trying to get to a parking lot. And we just did not make it in time. We didn't have a bag or anything. And I'm like, oh my God. And then his truck smelled like that night, I have like one of those upholstery cleaners.
It has to air out.
It just has to live until it dies, I think, the smell, So it's like, oh, it's so bad. It's happened in the car a couple of times. I think twice. But, it's terrible when it happens in the car. But yeah, when it hits you and it just runs through the whole family, oh my God, that's like the worst.
We're probably triggering some people right now.
I mean, I'm triggered right now.
What kind of sick kid is Levi? Like, is he one of those kids, I don't feel well, I just want to lay in my bed, I just want to get some rest? Or do you have one, I am miserable, so I'm going to make everyone else miserable in this house too?
He's fairly laid back when he's sick. When he really, really doesn't feel good, he just wants to lay on the couch and like watch TV and just let him be quiet. Like, so it's really not bad when he's sick. He's a champ, when he is sick, that if he's got to go to the bathroom, he like runs to the bathroom. It's just, one of those things. So, he does fairly well most of the time, I would say.
Well, that's good.
It's shocking.
Peyton is one of those that she really doesn't, if she doesn't feel well, she'll, eventually mention it, but she kind of just rests. She's always been that kid where she just wants to just lay down and rest and feel better.
Yeah.
Riley, she was one of those that would just be like, listen, I don't feel well. I'm going to let you know.
Yeah.
And
whiny.
which is different for her from her actual personality, because she is my most laid back kid. And Dylan, well, man, I mean, she usually when she's sick, you don't know it unless it's something like really bad. That's really wreaking havoc on her.
Yeah.
But she's just running amok and you're like, hey, I need you to lay down. I need you to rest so you can feel better. Or, I need you to make sure you take your medicine. Huh. She wants to scream what medicine she's being given. Well, no, I don't like that kind. I want this kind.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, well, this is what you need. So I need you to take this one. Oh, can I go outside? I'm like, especially if you're already dealing with allergies, I need you to get the green caterpillars coming from your nose to stop before I kind of keep putting you outside even more.
Yeah.
But
the moment Levi turns the corner, he's very much like that. And he does also screen the medicine because he's like, well, that medicine doesn't taste as good as this medicine. And we've even been dealing with now, he's like, can I have medicine? My arm hurts. Because my mother-in-law had bought us some Tylenol recently because she's like, I think there might be like a little Tylenol shortage. So I bought extra for you. And I don't think there really ever was, unless it just hasn't hit yet. But we have a surplus of like all different kinds of Tylenol. And she got the liquid, which I switched to like the chewables because it's so much easier. You can take them like in your purse when you travel. You don't have to worry about it like leaking and stuff. And so we have this liquid. And so I was like, well, I'll just start using up the liquid while we're at home. And he loves it. And he will ask. And I'm like, son, you do not need Tylenol for your arm hurting over here. Like, so yeah, he screens it. But yeah, the moment he turns that corner, it's like all hell breaks loose. The energy comes back. And I'm like, and usually that's whenever I'm sick. Like
Yeah.
he's turned the corner and I'm like getting sick and I can't keep up. So that's never fun.
I feel like I've had those moments where like a kid sneezes or coughs and catch you off guard,
Yeah.
and you hear like the horror music playing
Yeah.
in the back of your mind. You're like, I'm gonna be sick.
Yep.
I'm
Yep.
gonna get it. Like,
Especially if they like sneeze like in your face
oh,
or, you know, like in your just general bubble. And I'm like, oh God, like, oh, it makes me cringe.
I have no empathy for them now. Like, when that happens, I'm just like, how could you do this to me?
Right.
Like, do you know what's gonna happen if I get sick? This house shuts down. It doesn't literally shut down, but
well,
like, my chores are left for me. Be like, you know what? We'll
Yeah.
give you the sick leave, but your work will be here
Yeah.
when you get back.
yeah.
So-
we don't have a substitute to step in for you, Mom.
No, better not.
Right. Well, that's true.
Better not. But
I mean,
yeah.
look, if you just come in to do the chores, come on.
Sometimes I'm like, you know, some of this stuff, no. But
Yeah.
I mean, it is one of those things where like some of my worst sicknesses have come from catching them from my children. Like,
Oh,
are you
yeah.
trying to take me out? Like, all the way?
So the worst thing I have ever had in my entire life, I caught from Levi. And it was hand, foot, mouth. And let me tell you, agony, like pure agony. When you're 18 months, 2 years, you know, and you get hand, foot, mouth, you're a lot more resilient. It usually doesn't hit you as hard. Once you kind of get past the fever, yeah, the blisters are not fun, but like it's not that bad. As an adult getting hand, foot, and mouth, I suffered for probably 3 weeks, and I had to get not 1, not 2, but 3 steroid shots because I think chicken pox times 10, like everywhere. I mean, I say everywhere. My abdomen, the palms of my hands, like you couldn't even see my hands. They were so blistered, like hundreds, if not more than that, of blisters everywhere. It was the most miserable I have ever felt. And obviously I'm caring for an 18-month-old, you know. Dustin never got it, thank God, because I don't even know what I couldn't open anything. Like, you got to think like blisters on your fingers that are so tender and hurt so bad that you can't physically pick anything up or do anything for yourself.
It's giving me like those packing bubble vibes.
Yeah. Think
Ugh.
bubble wrap all over, except they're
Your
painted,
skin
but
with
it's your
nerves.
skin. Yeah. It was the worst thing.
But you still love Levi.
Oh, well, yeah, of course. But my God, it was awful. Like, straight up awful. And look, as much as I hate the stomach bug, I would take the stomach bug over hand, foot, and mouth as an adult. Like, Levi, I wouldn't, because it didn't really, I mean, he was fine. He had a day or two of like that whiny, like, I don't feel good.
Yeah.
Once that 48 hours, fine. Me, I mean, I literally called my doctor and I'm like, I don't even know what to do. I am so miserable. I've never felt like this before. And so they gave me oral steroids and they were like, why don't you come in for a steroid shot? Okay, great. And it did temporarily help, but it didn't help enough. And so then they flared back up. And so then I had to go get another steroid shot and then another steroid shot because they were trying, it's like my immune system had like freaked the hell out and it couldn't figure out what to do is I think what was happening. And they were trying to like get everything to settle back down to like either boost my immune system so that it could like kick it or to just settle things down. I don't know. Awful though.
I'm sorry to hear that, but I want to know nothing personally about that. Like, it's not an
No.
experience I feel like we need to share to get closer, but
Would not wish that on my worst enemy. It was that bad. What's the worst thing y'all have ever gotten?
I mean, probably stomach bugs, thank God. And not even often, but I am very strategic whenever I feel like somebody's getting sick.
Mm-hmm.
I'm one of those moms. I got the hand thermometer where I can touch and I can feel when the fever is coming or anything like that. So we kind of start working on it ahead of time. I wish the girls ate a little bit more of a balanced diet to kind of help counteract that, but we are fortunate. I'm like, please don't let this episode jinx anything in my house. I'll let you guys know. But we stay relatively healthy in the house.
Yeah.
With the exception of allergies, because like if somebody's sick, I'm going through a list of questions.
Yeah.
Like, what did you eat? Did you eat before you took a medicine or anything like that? Like, I'm going to screen it to know. Like, do I shut the whole house down? Is this an isolated situation? Like, we need to go through the questionnaire. Let's fill out the little medical questionnaire. Like, if you go to the emergency room and they want you to fill out this paperwork, you're like, but I'm bleeding. No, listen, I need to know the whole situation so I know how to proceed.
Or like the post-COVID world that we live in, where every doctor you go to, no matter what it's like, have you experienced COVID symptoms in the last 10 days?
They ask that. I just went and did my checkups. Well, my medical checkups for the year this past week.
Yeah.
And the question for my physical with my internal medicine doctor were like, do you go to church? Do you socialize with people? I think from the age of COVID, and we're going off topic a little bit, but like the age of COVID and depression has been so much more prevalent in people or harder for people to deal with.
Yeah.
The screening questions are just immense, but if you really think about it, sometimes those symptoms can mimic an upset stomach or create a headache or whatever. So sometimes in those screenings, I can know how to help you a little bit better, even though they're looking at me like, what is wrong with you? I do the same thing to Jared. I'm like, let me ask all these questions because then I know, like, is he going to be down for the count for the next week because he's miserable with a man cold? Or, you know, do I need to make sure you go see, if you think it's something, I need you to go make an appointment with a doctor. You're not going to keep Googling stuff and asking me questions. Like, this is not how this is going to go.
I do not have a medical degree, Sarah. Look, I know that moms can answer a lot of medical questions, but there is a limit. And you've surpassed the limit today, sir.
No,
so.
And like, I can't compete with Google. Google is going to tell you the worst case scenario.
Always.
And I don't have time. I don't have time to like talk you off that ledge that Google is right. She's probably not.
Agreed.
I mean, she's worst case scenario.
She's going to tell you that you're dying, you have cancer, you know, something, and that's probably not the case typically. But
and the only person that can give you the information for sure is a doctor.
Yep.
But I understand though. Sometimes you're nervous. You're like, do I need to go to the doctor because what it costs you to go can be so expensive.
It can be.
I think about certain things where, like, when last year the flu was going around Dylan's school right before her Easter egg hunt in school, and I felt so bad. She had no symptoms whatsoever, no fever, but ended up going to school that day and ended up having a fever. And I was like, you know, let me just, to make sure nothing else comes through our house, that it's not COVID, it's not the flu, I just go get you checked. Homegirl tested positive for the flu. Had to miss her Easter egg hunt, which was hard because she asked me 2 days later, am I going for my Easter egg hunt? And
I know.
I'm sorry.
It's so hard at that age.
She was fine. She was actually asymptomatic to the flu. But, you know, the protocols, you test positive, you got to be out for so many days and all that stuff. So that sucks whenever they've had to miss school and they weren't really sick, but you know, I am one of those moms, even though I dread them having to miss school and I know it's nothing, I would rather keep them out of school than to give it to somebody else.
Oh, totally.
Because that's not fair to somebody else's household, especially if they have like newborns and small kids or, you know, caring for older family members. Like, I Google that. A worst case scenario, those situations, and I'm trying to be considerate. I'd rather keep you home and you drive me crazy with watching TV and me watching you play, because that's how we play. She wants me to watch her play, than me to go and contaminate somebody else's kid.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, I try to never be that mom that sends my kid to school sick. And we do, because I think every kid, oh, I don't feel good whenever they maybe just are feeling nervous. And we talk about that. I'm like, does your tummy hurt because you're hungry? Do you have to go to the bathroom? Is it one of these things where you're just feeling nervous? Is there something going on today that's making you feel nervous? So we do kind of screen for those things.
Yeah.
But yeah, if he's legitimate, like, even there are days where maybe there's no fever, but I can definitely tell as his mom that he does not feel good. And like, we all have those days. Like, if you legitimately, I can tell you're like really lethargic and you don't feel good, I'm not going to make you go to school just because you don't have a fever. I never want to be that parent. And as frustrating as it is that there are people that do that, I try to be kind of mindful of like, I'm fortunate enough that we can afford to take off and take a sick day and stay home. And, I think there's probably single moms out there that
that's not
if they skip work, that might be their grocery money, So I try to be as considerate as I can on those things. But man, it's like, please keep your kid homesick if you can. If they're sick, please don't send them, because then it just spreads like wildfire, especially at Dylan and Levi's age. Like, they're at that,
sharing is caring.
Sharing is caring, and they touch everything, and you're just like,
touch their faces.
Yeah. It's like, no, please don't do that. And they are good at Levi's school that they talk about, like, okay, we're not going to share drinks. We're not going to, to try not to share snacks. Like, here's your snack and it's yours. They're going to get their own snack, you know? So it's kind of one of those things where you just have to kind of tread lightly, I guess. But yeah, I try to not be that mom. If I really know that something's up, even if there's no fever, we're just staying home. We're just staying home. So, and lucky, we're fortunate to have that. So what I like to do, and this is kind of somewhat part of business, but it's my favorite part of business, is whenever I see friends that have sick kids, if they like post on social media and they're like,
you like seeing friends?
I don't like seeing friends sick, but I will try to send them like food or a little care package or something, just because I've been there, and there is nothing like getting some unexpected chicken noodle soup.
Yes.
Or, hey, I know you're not feeling great. And it's so easy to do now because you've got, there's plenty of services you can do. You can even just send some waiter or DoorDash something to them. So I try to like be mindful too. And it's one of those things that I look at it as like a give back,
Absolutely.
And it's a business write-off ultimately. So it's like, I try to.
It's a win-win.
It's a win-win, because to me, for marketing and stuff for business, it's like, I would much rather spend that money instead of doing a big old billboard with my name on it. Like, let me take care of my people, like, I want to take care of them on such a high level that I don't really need to do that type of marketing and advertising. I want you to just know that I care and that I'm part of your life. And when I see that, if somebody posts that, hey, we've been sick, we're trying to recover, we had COVID or whatnot, just to send a little something to just say, hey, I know you're sick. I'm thinking about you. I hope you feel better. I hope this helps. So I love being able to like support friends through that, because nobody likes to be sick, but it happens to all of us. So
it does. It definitely does.
It's one of those just like little, sprinkle of goodness things that I really like to do. So as we wrap up this week on the topic of kind of sick kiddos, I have a strong Mother of the Week nomination.
Who do we have this week?
So our mutual friend Holly nominated one of my friends. Her name is Teeny Leek, and she's such a great friend. She is probably one of the nicest people that I've ever known. We used to be neighbors. I sincerely miss being neighbors with all of these great people. They just finished chemo for her little boy who has been struggling with leukemia, and she's worked through all of this, and they temporarily moved their whole family up to St. Jude's while he was going through this. And I mean, it just, you watch that and it makes you, one, thankful for where you're at and for your health, but it just makes you really, as a community, have to circle up those friends and go, hey, we're here, let us help. So we just wanted to give a strong mama shout out to Teeny.
Absolutely.
You are an incredible mom, Teeny, and we are so glad that Waylon is doing so much better because
Yes.
he is cancer free. So that is the best news that I've gotten in quite some time.
Yes, I've been following the story because Holly,
Yeah.
and it's just been one of those things where you just don't even understand why these things would happen.
Yep.
But God gives moms the courage to do what they have to do,
Yep.
even when they don't think that they can. And I am so thankful that everything has progressed well for him and that
Yep.
he is doing so much better and that she is able to keep loving on her family. And so that was just happy to see it and happy to give her the shout out she deserves and then some.
Absolutely.
So,
well, perfect. Well, that is a wrap for today. But if you are missing us in between episodes, you know where to find us at Strong Like a Mother Podcast on Instagram. We are always there. So we will see you guys next week.
bye.